You know, in the early 1990s, I was covering a high school hockey game in Dalhousie, New Brunswick, and I overheard this conversation. One of the fans of the English Dalhousie team said, "I wish we had a bully on the ice. We can't score a goal." And the other person said, "What do you mean? Why would you need a bully to score goals?" He said, "It's not what you think, you effing idiot. Ted Bulley, the guy for the Blackhawks, he could score from any place in the ice, and you didn't have to coach him. He scored 25, 30 goals." So in sports, when you call a bully in the wrong way, means you're aggressive. But in hockey, when you call a bully, it's a compliment, because the word bully came from this guy who was an excellent player in junior and in the NHL, very short career, but very effective. Of course, we're talking about the great Ted Bulley. Now, Edward Harvey Bulley was born in the great Ontario community of Windsor, bordered estates, of course, March 25th, 1955. Now, at 6'1", 192 is your typical major junior prospect. First came to major prominence with the Windsor Spitfires of the SOJHL. Now, according to published reports, he tried out for the Peterborough Petes, but he didn't want him. Didn't make the squad. He ended up in the queue, and with the Hull Festivals over 2 seasons, he put up, get this, ladies and gentlemen, 76 goals and 174 overall points. Now, 75 draft came calling. I think Chicago got him a steal at 115th overall, but he was also taken 59 overall by the Quebec Nordiques. Now, he was sent for seasoning to the Flint Generals of the IHL, and later skated with the Dallas Blackhawks of the CHL in their playoffs. Now, 77, he got these first tastes of the NHL with 2 games with Chicago. He also played 2 games with Dallas, but had a tremendous season in the IHL with the Flint Generals, 92 points, including 46 goals in 70 games. Now, Ted Bulley's rookie season is one that still people talk about, because he came from nowhere really to be one of the top scorers and the top aggressive scorers, because he had 141 minutes at penalties that year. He had 51 points in 79 games, including 23 goals, was amongst the top rated rookies that year. 79, even better, 50 points in 75 games, including 27 goals. 80, 81, 82, still with Chicago. Numbers were dropping, but eventually he found his way to Washington in a trade in 83. Back to the AHL, 35 points with the Skipjacks in 84, but also played with the Penguins that season and wrapped up his career with the Skipjacks of the AHL in 85. Now, it's kind of interesting how Ted ended up in the queue. Now, he was selected by Peterborough in the 73 OMJHL draft, but failed to make Peterborough team out in training camp, and then instead went to the QMJHL. So I don't know exactly why he didn't make the team. Peterborough had a strong squad, but like I said, 174 points before he was drafted, including 76 goals. Maybe he felt he wasn't big enough, or maybe a little bit not aggressive enough, but he took enough penalties to know. Now, what really stood out for a lot of people in Chicago and Washington, he wore that significant number 29, because Montreal Canadiens number 29 was very popular. Throughout the league, it was very popular. Now, final NHL totals, 101 goals in 414 games, 214 points. And in the playoffs with Chicago and Washington, when Washington finally made the playoffs, he had 5 goals and 5 assists for 10 points in 29 games. Now, he led Chicago in goals in 1979, but injuries really hampered his early 80s as well. He missed parts of the 80 season with knee and shoulder injuries, and he missed part of 81 with a very bad strep throat. Now, he played probably one of the most important lines in Chicago history in their almost Stanley Cup run in 82, because Vancouver made it. He played with Terry Ruskowski and the great Grant Mulvey in what I call that the power line. That's what we used to name it, because sometimes on defense he would score, shorthanded he would score. No matter what happened, he gave 100%. Now, when he went to Washington, he was eventually released by them and signed with Pittsburgh as a free agent in 1983. Now, he was on the AHL regular season champion of Baltimore in 84, and was also active off the ice in many ways. He played in Chicago's off-season charity softball team, and eventually, of all things, moved to Ottawa to work for Air Canada after his retirement. Now, he also played charity hockey for the Ottawa Senators alumni team despite never playing for them, and also coached minor hockey in the Ottawa area after retirement. Now, the big deal for Chicago, some people think it was a rotten trade. They traded Bulley and Dave Hutchison, the former King and Leaf, to Washington in exchange for an 83 8th-round pick and an 84 5th-round pick on August 24th, 82. Now, at the time of the deal, Bulley and Hutchison were traded for future draft considerations. Now, the lack of toughness and goal scoring that Chicago had in the early 1980s, was kind of a head-scratcher because, again, you put in 5 good years with Chicago, especially those back-to-back 23 goal-plus seasons in 78 and 79. And Chicago was, this was before Denny Savard, right? But I don't know why they didn't think that Bulley could help Chicago. He was, when he left Chicago, he was only like 26, 27. He wasn't over the hill. If anything, he was, still a good player, hampered by injuries, but I still look at that 1979 season, again, where Chicago was competitive, got knocked off to the playoffs, but 27 goals for Chicago back in the day was important because if you had a 27-goal scorer like Bulley to augment the good lineup they had offensively and defensively. But I was impressed with Ted Bulley, and he drove Chicago fans nuts because he give you 2 or 3 goals in so many games and be held off the score sheet for a couple of games. They always thought he'd score 30, 35 goals. But in the words of Steve Shutt, when you score 60, he won 70. Maybe when he scored 27, he figured, hey, he's going to score 35 or 40. But he was your typical 25 to 35 goal a season scoring, were not for injuries and some bad luck. That 5-year run in Chicago. But that run for Chicago, if you're a Blackhawk fan, there's a lot of good memories. You got Bannerman, Esposito, Denny Savard, Doug Wilson, Al Secord, Ruskowski, Grant Buldy. Some good talent on that team anyway. But it was kind of bizarre when Washington made the playoffs in '83. My buddy said, this is getting quite heavy. He said when Washington is making the playoffs, because 8 years previously they're in the wilderness in that opening season. So, and I know for a fact he's 2 seasons in Baltimore. He was a very popular player. I read something in the Hockey News that the fact he was doing a lot of outreach with hockey fans in Baltimore because, as a lot of people know, Baltimore is mostly a football city, and basketball in the past too as well. So, and Hull Festivals, boys, that brings back memories because I put it this way: if you're a fan of Hull Festivals, tell me about that 75 season. If you're listening to this podcast, tell me your memories of Mr. Bulley. Anyway, when I say the word Bulley, I only mean one thing. I don't think Ted was anything but an excellent player, and his 10-year career in the pros was way too short. He should have been around for a number of years, but things happen. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening. If you like what we're doing here, give us a like, comment, and subscribe, and keep your stick in the ice. Bye.